And I think by expressing your personality and sticking true to yourself, naturally brands that do test on animals and things won't come to you if you express your values.
So you'll attract your tribe, basically, the people that want to work with you based on your values. Yeah. Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel, Cruelty-Free Models, a place to discover the industry's top cruelty-free and eco-conscious models, makeup artists, and other industry professionals. We'll also be talking about all things cruelty-free, and as always, have a little fun. So today we have a special guest. Her name is Lydia Cooke. She is a model, she's a humanitarian, and an environmentalist. So we are so excited to have her here with us today. I first found her on Instagram and I was immediately just, inspired by her. So I went to her website, and from there I just learned more about her and, what she stands for, her values, and I just had to have her on the channel. So thank you so much, Lydia, for being here.
No, thank you so much for having me and saying all these kind things.
Well, it's true. I know it's hard for people to take, compliments, but you really are an inspiration. And I'm just grateful that you took time out to just speak with us and just share some of your wisdom. So
no, honestly, thank you so much. It's I'm grateful that you came to me.
Okay, so we're basically just gonna go through some Q&A questions very quickly. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So before we start, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey as far as modeling, and what made you even start to care about the environment or animals in general. So
yeah, I mean, do you know what? I find this question actually really hard, just like explaining who I am, because I feel like I do so many different things. And my journey, it hasn't been a straight line. It's been very all over the place. And I'm grateful for that. It's meant I've had challenges to face and also amazing things happen. But yes, I'm a model. I've been modeling since I was about 17. I'm also a blogger. I do environmental blogging. I've got a degree in geography. Humanitarian volunteer for a charity called Shelterbox that does a lot of sort of disaster and conflict shelter aid, which is amazing, and they're actually based here in the UK. And just day-to-day life is sort of content creation and modelling, but also using my platform to influence people about the environmental humanitarian passions that I hold, and my love for animals, because quite honestly I don't understand how anyone can't love them.
Right.
So that's what I want to share. But yeah, my passions, I guess they really started just when I was younger. The way that I was brought up with my mum and my brother, we lived on a small holding. We had goats and chickens and pigs, and lived very much in the countryside and along the coastline. Did lots of walking and exploring. So naturally, I became very fond of our environment anyway. And then through education and traveling, that's just sort of built up to where I am now.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go through the first part of these questions. First one, what advice would you give others that want to pursue modeling but want to maintain their cruelty-free values?
Yeah, so, a lot of people ask me how to get into modeling and things like that. And my advice is always just to be entirely yourself. And stick to who you are, stick to your guns of your personality, and really express that to the world. And if you put that out there, you'll get booked, and the jobs that you kind of want will come to you because of your personality.
Right.
But in terms of maintaining that cruelty-free side of things, I think it's important that if you have an agency, you tell them that you sort of don't want to work with brands that test on animals. Because they should hold that and sort of make sure that they don't offer you jobs that are with those sorts of companies.
Yeah.
I get a lot of freelance work as well. So when companies and clients come to me directly, I always sort of just first off say, is your product cruelty-free? Because I don't want to promote a product that isn't, and I don't want to work with a brand that that test on animals, which may come across rude, but it's the value that I hold and it's part of my brand. So I just kind of put that safety net around myself. So that's the sort of baseline advice that I would give for it. And I think by expressing your personality and sticking true to yourself, naturally, brands that do test on animals and things won't come to you if you express your values.
So you'll attract your tribe, basically, the people that want to work with you based on your values. Yeah. Awesome. All right. What animal or environmental issues are you most passionate about and why?
Yeah, this is hard. Do you know what? Whenever someone says that, my brain just goes to this web of all the different things that I've learned about. I've got a degree in geography, so I've really had insight into so many various complicated webs of challenges and issues across the entire world, from the smallest things to the actual science of the climate. And then, I'll watch absolutely every documentary I can get my hands on. So I feel like I know about so many challenges, but it's hard for me to pick just like one issue or just a few issues. But a story that really stuck out to me, that I think a lot of viewers might be able to relate to as such, is in a National Geographic, I can't remember which issue it was, but there was a whole story about influencers having pictures taken with animals, and sort of maybe not realizing actually how those animals are looked after and the fact that they are drugged in order to have those photos.
Right.
And I quite often see them come up, on my explore page and stuff, and it breaks my heart to see that. I remember reading a story about beluga whales that get sort of transported across Russia in the back of a lorry so that people can have photos taken with them in marquees, and things like that. So I think that's something that I'm quite passionate about. But in terms of, sort of a global scale of environmental issue, I think something that's really important is to make our human population, our global population, aware that as humans and as individuals, we are actually the cause of these impacts, whether we like to know that or not. And it's important to make that connection. So not so you beat yourself up and blame yourself, but so that you can be aware to make those changes, knowing that you will have an impact.
Right.
So I think that's kind of more of an outlook that I'm passionate about than the issues as such. But oh my gosh, I could talk about so many issues.
I know, there's so many. And it's hard to try to be on point with every single one. You kind of have to be committed to certain issues and just stick to it so that you're not doing everything half-assed, sort of say, you know what I mean? Yeah, because it's hard.
I also really want to make sure that people don't blame themselves, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of news stories and things like that really push this negative effect on people that, there's such thing now of eco-anxiety. It's a real thing now, and I think it's important to make sure that people notice the issues but know the ways to change it, rather than just beat themselves up about it. So I think that's an important part of what I try to do as well. But yeah, it's about knowledge and understanding the whole concept of things.
Exactly. So since you're in modeling, do you feel the fashion and beauty industry is changing for the better in a positive way? And do you think it's going to stick around, continue to just grow and hopefully one day be permanent as far as cruelty-free and the vegan movement?
Yeah, do you know what? I actually speak to my friends about this a lot, because from, at least, I don't know if I'm just speaking from my bubble of social media, but from what I've seen, there's been a real push in the last few years to sort of demand businesses to be more sustainable and to offer vegan options and to be more cruelty-free. And it's been really inspiring to see, and I've definitely noticed that there's been a change and a push. And I love it, and I love being a part of it. People really want to listen to what I'm saying, and I love seeing people interact with what other people are saying, and brands bringing out, ways that they're moving to be more sustainable and ethical. In fact, actually, the BBC put out this documentary called Beauty Laid Bare, that really opened up a lot of the issues behind the sort of chaos of the beauty industry. And it was a series where they went through the manufacturing, you know, where the actual ingredients come from, testing on animals, things like that. And I think that in itself, whoever watched that will have been impacted by it, and sort of motivated to make changes as well. So I definitely think, from what I've seen myself, I think there's changes being made for the better because of the demand of the buyer. And I really strongly believe and hope, at least, that that's going to stick around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that documentary. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's really good, actually. It was super interesting. They basically sent away, I think it was 5 Brits to these various places to learn more about sort of behind the industry. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was amazing.
When did that come out? What was that, a few years ago or just recently?
I think it was last year at some point.
Okay.
I think all of us feel like last year was a bit blur, but I'll find it for you. I'll find it for you and link it.
Awesome. Okay, next question. Why is it important for models to use their voice and speak out? Whether it's about the environment or animals or, you know, humanitarian issues.
Yeah, do you know what? I never, when I went into modelling, I never realised the impact that you can have. And it sounds so stupid to say, but the idea of modelling and people following you because you're a model and you create these images with these amazing photographers and things, people follow you for that, and it creates a platform for you that you can use to make better and to influence people in the right way.
Right.
So I think, yeah, basically I think that modelling provides a platform for yourself to be able to push that to people that follow you. And I think that's kind of almost a duty that you should be given, or you should notice that you have when you have a following, is that people are going to listen to what you say, people are going to interact with you and discuss with you what you're trying to speak about. And yeah, I think it's basically a duty that comes with having a platform like that.
Right. I think it's just so much easier now with social media, because before models were kind of like just a face, you know, and not so much of a personality, just a face to look at. And they weren't able to use their voice effectively. So I think social media has a lot to do with that and being able to use that influence. So
yeah. It's definitely one of those things that we talk about in terms of, you know, is social media for the better or for the worse? But if you use it correctly, it can be amazing, and it can do amazing things.
Absolutely.
And open up really awesome discussions. So yeah, I think it's
agreed.
Part of the parcel.
All right. So, what are your goals for the future? What can we look forward to?
Well, I mean, providing that the future opens up. I'd love to just take what I'm doing right now further. I want to have that big influence and be noticed as a sustainable person who's trying to make a better future. I want to open up discussions with people in a more sort of wider audience. So, for example, you know, my dream goal, my dream job entirely, I should have started with this, I want to be a documentary presenter. So to just be able to speak to a wide audience like that through television, and you know, go away to these places and investigate and research climate issues, humanitarian issues, conservation issues in person, and actually show those issues in situ to my followers and the staff would be like, that would be a dream come true. I would absolutely love to be that person. But I think the main goal is to just live a lifestyle that keeps me happy.
Right.
You know, and to keep that balance and make sure that I always have that balance through my life and not get swept away by things. Yeah, just take the path slowly and sort of see what happens.
Right. How do you feel cruelty-free models can help direct change in the industry?
I mean, I think what you're doing already is awesome. I think sharing to the world that there are people out there who hold the same values as yourself, and important values. You know, I really strongly believe that testing on animals is a very strange thing to do. It makes me feel uncomfortable. So I think what you're doing already and bringing these people on to speak to you and sharing that to your followers is really important. And it normalizes the view. You know, it's not strange to decide that you don't want to buy products that are tested on animals. So by cruelty-free models sort of showing that to the world, it really makes it a normal thing and something that people can openly talk about. So yeah, I think that's awesome. I think it's great.
Exactly. I think it's kind of a way, going back to the social media, it kind of gives models more of a voice to voice the values that they have. I feel like that's something we're going to be able to really help them have that confidence to do by seeing the other people in the industry that have those same values. They'll be able to speak out without feeling like they're alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Right. All right. So a couple of fun questions.
Yeah.
Morning or night person, and why?
Wow. I'm definitely a morning person. I love, when people ask me the classic question, are you sunrise or sunset? I always say sunrise. I just think the whole metaphor of it is amazing. Waking up, seeing the world opening up, daylight. I'm such a sun seeker. Such a I get FOMO if it's light and I'm not outside. So definitely a morning person. I have way too much energy in the morning. My friends will tell you that.
Is this natural energy, or do you have a cup of coffee in the morning?
I think I have a mix. I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe I should just leave the natural energy there. But yeah, I think, and then by sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm conked out. That's the end of me. So definitely a morning person.
Okay, what's your favorite quote to live by?
I have kind of two things that are stuck in my mind at the moment. There was a quote I came across the other day that said, you can still be who you were meant to be without meeting the expectations of who other people think you should be. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a really lovely one, especially in the new world of social media, when there is so much pressure to think that you should be acting like what people expect you to be like, when actually we all have our own paths and we're following the paths that are given to us, and we end up being who we want to be because of what we put out there and sort of our decisions. So right. It kind of takes that pressure away and allows you to live freely. I think that quote sort of gives you that freedom. Then another one, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this, but there was a word I came across the other day. It's a Norwegian word. It's like, oh gosh, it's like fruitsliv or something. That's not really good.
I have no idea.
Anyway, it directly translates to free air life, and it basically means that to be in nature and be outdoors benefits your physical and mental well-being, which Absolutely. I just think is so completely true. It's not Absolutely. A quote, but it is a saying, and it's just spot on, and that is entirely how I choose to live my life. So,
exactly. Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up, in just the technology, the social media, and just everything else. Sometimes, where I live, I just have to stop what I'm doing, go outside, and just be in nature. There's just so much nature all around me, and sometimes I forget about it. And then I have to go outside and just reconnect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it's like where you've been for the whole coronavirus situation. But in England, we've had a rule where you're allowed one walk a day. Mm-hmm. And I think it's by speaking to so many people, it's really made this transition in people's lives that one time where you get outside really affects your mood for the day and just brings life back to you and sort of gives you the energy to keep going and motivates you. So I think it's just the whole concept of it is just so spot on, and it's something that we always should remind ourselves. So,
Absolutely. Okay, so Lydia, what's your sign, and does it kind of fit you? Does it? What's your astrological sign?
Sure, it annoys me that it's so spot on. I'm an Aries, and yeah, I mean, sort of some of the characteristics that you have are a bit spot on. That sort of high energy, always wanting to play around, sort of always looking after other people, but never looking after yourself. Seems to be a big one. And then being very calm and collective, but you can very easily flip. And I always do this to my friends. I'm like, you haven't witnessed my Aries moment yet, but it will come one day. Like, there'll be something that happens and I will switch.
Fair warning. Fair warning.
It's only happened a few times in my life, but you know that it's there. Yeah, annoyingly, I am as Aries as it comes, really. I've even got the constellation tattooed on my ribs.
Oh, awesome.
Because my nephew was the same as well, so I've got our little constellation with me.
So who inspires you? Who makes you just want to continue doing what you do? Who inspires you in your life?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that inspire me, but I always say the sort of top dogs in my mind are, I mean, it's quite typical. It's David Attenborough, obviously, because I quite literally don't know who couldn't be inspired by him. You know,
right.
The movement that he has created in his life for a better future for everyone below him is incredible.
Absolutely.
And you know, the platform that he's built and the discussions that he's started are just amazing. But there's another documentary presenter called Simon Reeves, who I just think is amazing. He does a lot of documentaries based on sort of conservation and humanitarian issues and social issues, conflict, climate change, things like that. So he's really sort of a bubble of who I want to be, and the issues that I want to talk about. So yeah, I feel very inspired by him. Every time I watch one of his documentaries, I'm like, wow.
Yep. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. I know you've been many places around the world, but what's one place that you dream of going to that you haven't been yet?
So hard. Having been a geography student, like, the amount of places I've learned about, and every single one I've been like, I need to go there. I need to be in this place. I mean, Costa Rica, where you so luckily are situated right now, just definitely one of the top on the list. I'd love to go to Iceland. I think everyone thinks I've already been there because I'm obsessed with it, but I've not been.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, I'd love to go to the Greenland ice sheet. I want to stand on the Greenland ice sheet. One of my best friends that I met traveling, I haven't seen her in 5 years, and she lives in Canada. I want to go there. Gosh, New Zealand. I want to go back to Asia. You know, Kenya. My mum lived in Kenya when she was younger, and I want to go.
Oh my gosh.
The memories that she has, I'd love to go and have as well. I've just completely got the travel bug. Having been captive for the last year, I know. So ready to go.
Same here.
Yeah.
Every time we see anything, we're like, add that to the bucket list. Add that to the bucket list. It's like, it's way too long now.
On Instagram, I have so many pictures saved of like random locations across the world. I'm like, I'm gonna get there one day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that photo. Yeah. So sorry, that's not really an answer. Just basically that entire world would be great.
No, I feel you. Okay, so last question. Name and describe your favorite childhood pet.
Yeah, so my little dog, Pepper, he was honestly my soulmate. He was a Jack Russell cross something we never quite knew. He was just a complete mongrel. Like, he had a brown head, white body, and then a brown bum and a hooked tail. And he's just like my personality was his personality as well. You know, I've never felt more connected to anything in my life. But yeah, so he passed away actually, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. But he was 18, so
wow.
He'd been part of my life for as long as I could remember.
Right.
And he just was like my little bubble of light every day.
Yeah, so he was a Jack Russell mix. So he must have been like a little ball of energy.
Yeah, he was so fun. Honestly, he had this this real character. Like, he really had his own personality. And I think growing up on the small holding, we had farms, fields, and like woodlands, and he used to play around with the goats, and he'd look after the chickens for us if we let them out. And he loved it. He had the best life, and he had so much energy. I'm sure he was an Aries as well, because we were basically the same person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Aw. I owned a grooming salon for 15 years in Virginia.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I'm like a complete dog obsessed maniac.
Yeah. Although I don't think, did Jack Russells ever get groomed?
Well, they came in for baths and to get their nails cut and ears cleaned, that sort of thing. There were a few people that, because I know there's like short haired Jack Russells, but there was also like wiry hair. Yeah, and sometimes people would have them cut down a little. I wouldn't recommend it, but we did get that request every now and again.
Oh, so. No, Jack Russells are just so fun. I think whenever I see one now, I'm like obsessed with seeing dogs whenever I go out. But I just think they have like the kindest face.
They do.
Cute, kindest faces. So yeah, and now because I don't live with my mum anymore, I live in a house share, so we don't have a dog here, and we actively go to the beach every Sunday because we know that it'll be swarmed with dogs. So that's where we're going to get our dog fix now. Yeah. Absolutely. The one for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm sure people get annoyed because when I'm out and about, I literally stop every single person with a dog and I hold them captive for at least 15 minutes.
We've noticed as well, instead of, it's a bit rude, whenever someone's coming up to us, walking past us, we say hello to the dog, but we forget to say hello to the owner.
Right.
Which I think they're used to it by now, but still, afterwards we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't say anything to them.
Oh yeah, hi, how are you?
Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
It's
Dogs
funny.
just make life better.
Yes, they do. I had 4 here. We brought 2 from the States, and then we adopted 2 here. So we had 4, but 2 of them, the 2 that we brought from the States died. They were around 16 to 18 years old as well.
Yeah.
One was a Beagle mix, and the other was the other was a Schnoodle. So yeah, so I love them so much.
I miss having one so much. I just can't wait to get another one. I'm going to rescue one as soon as I have my own house.
There's a place here that I have yet to visit, but it's a pretty popular tourist destination. I forget the Spanish word for it, but it translates to Land of the Dogs or Land of Strays. And it's just this, just acres and acres that have been designated just for strays, but there's volunteers that go and they feed the dogs and take care of them and everything, and it's just dogs for just acres and acres. I can't wait to go.
I've changed my answer to where I want to travel next. That's it now.
I'm gonna send you a link for that so you can see just some videos of it. It's crazy.
Honestly, I will be browsing it for hours.
Okay, well, that was the last question. So I appreciate you again taking some time out and talking with me and sharing some of your knowledge. So we appreciate it. You guys, if you don't already follow Lydia, you can follow her on Instagram at Lydia_Cooke, right? Cook with an E.
Yeah, that's the one. Cook with an E.
And tell us your website.
Yeah, so my website is www.lydia-cooke.com.
Awesome.
And that's got some of my blogs on there and stuff, which I need to do more of. It turns out when you go self-employed and you think you're going to have this time, you don't.
Right.
That will be updated hopefully soon. But yeah, it's got my portfolio and everything on there as well, but feel free to have a little browse. Yeah, you can find out a bit more about who I am, I guess.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, don't forget to follow us at Cruelty-Free Models on Instagram, and you can go check out the site at www.cruelty-freemodels.com. Sign up for our newsletters to find out when we're going to launch. So thank you guys for joining us again, and we'll see you next time.